Okay, today I'm gonna be giving a speech about the Guadalupe Mountain treasure and the hidden gold there. Um, I've been. Have you ever wanted to find the easy way to get rich and have a shortcut? The lottery, bingo. There's all kinds of things like that. And what if I told you that there's a way to do that just 60 miles away at the Guadalupe Mountains? There's been Guadalupe Mountains have had a history of gold dating back all the way to the Civil War when one of our own governors, General Lee Wallace, even commented on it. Um, in fact, if you go to the peak, there's there's a the moral at the peak even talks about the history of gold there. And my speech is just on the stories themselves, and that's what we're gonna go through, two major stories and the history behind it and why there is history behind there being gold there. My first story starts with a guy named J.C. Hunter, and he started a ranch near the Guadalupe Mountains after discovering how good the grass was for the animals. And he hired a man named Jesse Duran, and Jesse Duran was from Mexico, and he was a really talented herder and cowboy. And one day he it was in the morning, and he stumbled that his canteen was empty. So he went to a nearby stream, and whenever he stepped on a slab, it caved in, and in there he discovered three skeletons and an old stagecoach wagon with a bunch of boxes full of gold and silver. And he got scared by it because he was a Catholic, and he believed that it was cursed and all the treasure behind it was cursed. So he went back to his boss to tell him about it the next day, and in the middle of telling his boss at dinner, he realized that his boss was just gonna use it he was gonna get the gold. So that night his boss had him sleep in the barn, and in the morning he was long gone. And that's my first story. And some history behind this is that it was the stagecoach company that was there only did payrolls, valuables, jewelry, and in this time the Mescalero Apaches also controlled most of the land, and they were a big threat, and so were bandits and thieves. So having all so in that area, there's always known history of, and people have found them many times, and it's little limestone caverns where people would hide their stolen items, and that's what this was. But then this one's never been discovered, and but there is proof of people finding them and getting valuables out of them. But my last story starts with a guy named William Cadwald Sublet, and he was also known as Old Ben because people thought he was crazy for wanting to find all this gold and treasure. He moved to Odessa to honor his wife's dying wish, which was to move to Odessa so their three kids could have an education. He became good friends with an old Mescalero Apache, and the Mescalero Apache found out that he was looking for gold, and they became so close that he actually told him his story, and he was banished from the Guadalupe Mountains as a whole and his actual own tribe. And because of that, he said that he'll give him the location to this gold. And it took him a couple of days to find it, but once he did, he came back and walked into a bar in Odessa and threw it up, and it was a bag full of gold nuggets, and all the people to this point thought he was insane or crazy. And when he walked in there with it, he was known as a rich man, and he said drinks all around, and that's what really started his real legacy. And through that, he started putting all of his money into the banks there, and the banks hired a bounty hunter. I mean, not a bounty hunter, he was a tracker, because many people try to make deals with him. Even said that they'll pay him $10,000 just so he'll give him the gold mine. And he said he could pick up $10,000 in an afternoon. And there's some other things. His gold was given to a jeweler, and the jeweler said it was the finest gold he's ever been able to put his hands on. And then another guy was quoted saying, whenever he first found it, he was quoted saying it was the richest gold mine in all of North America. And the first thing he did with it was he clothed his 3 kids. And the guy gave them an education, and then he started working on his business. He got a new wagon, new mules. But once the trackers and everybody started coming for him, he wasn't stupid. He started hiding his gold in between Odessa and his actual mine. And no one was ever able to track him because of how clever he was with the way he went there and came back. And he ended up getting affiliated. He only told 3. There's only a limited amount of people he told, but one of the main ones that we actually know he really told was named Grizzly Bill, and he was an old gold prospector who he was able to find it, and he came back with 3 flour sacks full of gold nuggets, and he ended up dying a couple of days later after getting bucked, trying to tame a wild horse and getting bucked off of it while he was drunk. But after he passed away in Odessa, his son was never able to find the gold because he was too young and didn't care whenever his dad took him, that he never memorized the route, and he was never able to claim his family share. So it remains lost. So that's how the story goes. And in conclusion, each story is pretty crazy, and it's really cool that it's right next to us, and it's in the Guadalupe Mountains that we've all driven by. And it's kind of insightful and hopeful that maybe we could find riches like that sometime, or someone will stumble on it. And that's the end of my speech.